Coming up tonight on Now, all of Maine's 16 sheriffs are in Augusta meeting with Governor LePage. They're supposed to talk about his comments on ICE.
All right, also a juvenile from the town of Limerick is arrested and charged with breaking into people's houses and stealing underwear. We'll have that story.
Plus, how many of your friends posted today simply "Me Too"? We're talking about that hashtag, what it means, and why so many are talking about it.
This is News Center Now. Hello everybody, welcome to News Center Now on this Monday. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Amanda Hill. All 16 of Maine's sheriffs were meeting in Augusta moments ago with the governor.
That's right, the sheriffs were not told what the meeting was for, but obviously many assumed it was about ICE detainees and the controversy that was recently stirred. News Center's Sam York is outside Augusta and joins us now live. Hey Sam.
Hey guys, yeah, that meeting just ended about 25 minutes ago. I was able to speak with Oxford County Sheriff Wayne Gallant and Governor LePage before they ran out the door, both saying that the meeting was very positive and productive, I should say. And as you mentioned, they weren't sure why the governor had summoned them, but they do say now, after speaking with him, this is a step in the right direction. Sheriff Gallant wouldn't go too much into detail about what the meeting was about, but he says part of it was in regards to ICE and working with their requests. You may remember that Governor LePage threatened to fire any sheriff who didn't obey ICE's orders to hold detainees for an extra 48 hours after they were released. And it's an issue he's been very vocal about. It's also an issue a couple sheriffs were not afraid to push back on, both Cumberland County Sheriff Kevin Joyce and York County Sheriff.
I think this will
Anyone without a warrant to do so. They felt it was a violation of the person's rights and could even potentially lead to a lawsuit. We were able to speak with Sheriff King earlier today. He says he's happy that the governor wanted to speak with all of them and that he expects good things to come from it.
I'm optimistic that he just wants additional information from us and he wants to open up that dialogue. I think this is a real good positive sign. I would feel less good if he didn't want to communicate with us about it.
Now that meeting with the governor lasted about 30 minutes. I'll have more from the sheriffs coming up on News Center at 5:30. Guys, back to you.
All right, Sam, live in Augusta. I'm going to apologize for the technical difficulties there because that was not the sound that Samantha thought we were going to be hearing. So we apologize for that. Stay tuned to News Center at 5:36. Much more on what happened in Augusta, as much as Sam could find out from the very tight-lipped crew that came out of that meeting room, as you could imagine. So.
Lots more info to come.
Yes.
All right, let's take a quick look outside. Not a bad fall day. Could feel a little more like winter though tonight, Keith.
I was at the beach, guys, on Saturday. Not like sun tanning, but I'm just saying. It was pretty nice. Much cooler today. Currently 52 in Portland, 53 in Rockland, 50 in Augusta. It's going to be chilly tonight, the coldest yet in a lot of spots, including the immediate coastline. 35, 34 degrees should do it in Portland, 34 in Rockland, 33 in Bar Harbor, and then into the 20s squarely. Places like Berlin and probably into Rangeley and Bethel, that whole area will be in the 20s, and 28 in Caribou. So cold night coming. We do have some cloud cover insulating us early, but this will move away through the evening. So one of the key ingredients for getting a really chilly night, whether it be in the fall or the middle of the winter, is clear skies, and we'll get that later tonight. You can see that happening on our predicted radar, and by tomorrow morning we are chilly. I don't know if I want to say cold yet because I don't have any words to use in February, but it is going to be chilly for sure tomorrow morning. And even with sunshine almost full through the day tomorrow, we end up in the mid and upper 50s. But guys, there is going to be several more 70s, it looks like, in the forecast, which will take us at that point into late October. Crazy stuff going on here.
Me Too. Those two powerful words have been flooding feeds all day today. You may have posted them with your story. You may have seen friends and loved ones come out with that confession, Me Too. This is a movement showing the magnitude of sexual assault and harassment, and those who post those words are admitting they are victims. This comes on the heels of the Harvey Weinstein scandal in Hollywood. The Me Too hashtag started with actor Alyssa Milano, who wrote, "If all the women who have been sexually harassed or assaulted wrote Me Too, Too as a status, we might give people a sense of the magnitude of the problem. Now, of course, sexual harassment and assault doesn't just impact women, but since then, hundreds of thousands of people on social media have come forward with their stories, including gubernatorial candidate Diane Russell. Now, some wanted to join the conversation without getting into detail, and from what I've personally seen, many people have been taken aback by just how many people in their lives have stepped up. But it's important to keep in mind there are many more voices, even if they don't post something saying "Me Too." Now, guys, I've been catcalled. I've been groped at bars several times. We're nearing 2018. This goes without saying. This treatment of men, women, human beings, just unacceptable. And I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what office you hold or what power you think you have. No one has the power to take away your sense of comfort and safety. And no one has the power to make you think it's your fault, because it's not. And it's unfortunate that it took somebody like Harvey Weinstein for all of this to come into light, because clearly, this is just a small piece of the pie, as we've seen, especially with this hashtag. So USA Today reports that the Weinstein Company actually announced the start of negotiations with the investment firm Colony Capital about a potential sale of the company. The founder of that firm said in a statement he plans to help return the company to its rightful iconic position in the independent film and television industry. So the fallout continues, but you know, more and more people are coming forward, and it's sad, but it's also so important, you know, to see that this is real.
It's more shocking to see a woman on social media right now who does not have that status, because pretty much every woman has experienced something like that, for sure.
This is going to be a watershed moment that is, as Katie said, long overdue, but so important. And yes, it's ridiculous that it took this long for someone to finally say something, but maybe even if we start today, it helps the future generation, and it helps that kids who are watching the news and are all tied into social media today maybe go, who's this Harvey guy? What's this all about? Maybe it'll shape our future so that nobody else will grow up thinking that it's okay to do that.
And it started with Alyssa Milano, just one single tweet. It became this catalyst of this movement on social media on all platforms. So
pretty impressive. All right.
Crazy.
Well, thank you, Katie. All right, a strange and disturbing story tonight. Sheriff's deputies in Limerick found 70 pairs of women's underwear stashed away in a hideaway in the woods.
All right, now they say a teenage boy had broken into 3 of his neighbors' homes over the course of the past couple of weeks to steal all of that underwear. The boy has been caught. He's been charged with burglary. Christina Rex is live in Limerick. Christina, this situation has a lot of neighbors, rightfully so, pretty uneasy.
Lee and Amanda, absolutely. Neighbors tell me this is the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and people sometimes don't even lock their doors at night. They say maybe that is what made these break-ins possible, and this whole situation has them reevaluating their safety.
Come here, baby. Oh, good boy. I mean, I have a lot of my grandchildren from infancy to 6. I don't want that around my house. And are they in jeopardy? Or are we in jeopardy? You don't know. It's scary what's in your own backyard.
Lisa LePage now worries if she's putting her grandkids in danger by letting them play outside.
Can I go on this side? Yep, get down. Get on, Kaden. You do. You think you're in a safe little community, and then something like this happens. It just rocks the confidence level a little bit.
Lisa is worried not only about her family's safety, but about the teenage boy who broke in and stole women's underwear from their homes.
You don't just go steal panties, break in just to steal underwear, just for the heck of it. There is a underlying mental issue, I assume.
The boy was caught by sheriff's deputies and admitted to the crime. Lisa says she hopes he gets the counseling he needs before his petty theft turns into a bigger issue.
That's how I truly believe. If you don't treat the illness now, we're going to have bigger, worse problems later down the road.
And Lisa says this situation has her potentially reevaluating whether or not she's going to lock her doors at night in what was her safe neighborhood. And York County Sheriff Bill King actually told me that that boy who was charged with burglary will also be getting the counseling he needs for the situation. His first court date is in December. Live in Limerick, Christina Rex, Lee and Amanda, back to you.
All right, thanks, Christina. By the way, earlier in the show, we were talking about all of the 16 sheriffs in Maine meeting with Governor LePage. One of those sheriffs is speaking out out about overcrowding in the county jail.
Yeah, a big problem here. Sheriff Troy Morton says that the Penobscot County Jail is past capacity. The Bangor area jail designed for 157 inmates, but on average 210 inmates are housed there every day, according to Morton. The sheriff says that the problem is partially caused by the opioid epidemic, and many of the inmates are struggling with addiction. Moving inmates to other jails could cost taxpayers millions of dollars each year. Still to come, so many of you people voted for it, but ranked choice voting is unconstitutional. Now lawmakers are trying to find a way to salvage the referendum question. We will explain it after the break.
Plus, should puppy mills be banned in Maine? A state out on the West Coast has already made it illegal. Tell us what you think right now on our Facebook live stream, and we'll have that story right after the break. Up tonight on 207, he's an award-winning director and photographer, but tonight we find out how he's using his climb up Mount Everest to help raise money for a hospital in New Hampshire. Plus, the Boys of Bull Moose on 207 at 7. Lawyers for the state and Anthony Sanborn battled again today as Sanborn's hearing started the second week.
Yeah, he was convicted of the 1989 killing of Jessica Briggs in Portland, but he was released on bail back in April after there were some questions about evidence being withheld in his trial.
Retired Portland detective Daniel Young spent his second day on the witness stand. Sanborn's lawyer raised questions about where an eyewitness was at the time of the killing, and the lawyers argued over a tape from a telephone answering machine, which Sanborn's lawyer, Amy Fairfield, said was withheld from defense at the time of the trial, even though it had been given to police at the time. That hearing is expected to continue for at least another 2 weeks.
Other news now, Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl admits that he deserted his post in Afghanistan, leading to his capture by the Taliban. Today, Bergdahl pleaded guilty to desertion and misbehavior before the enemy ahead of his upcoming court-martial. He could face a life sentence for years. Bergdahl maintained that he walked off to bring attention to bad leadership in his unit, a story that he told in the hit podcast Serial. President Obama traded 5 Taliban militants for Bergdahl in 2014, one of the administration's most controversial moves.
The man who planted 2 IEDs in Manhattan was convicted on 8 counts today, including using a weapon of mass destruction. Ahmad Khan Rahimi injured 30 people when his pressure cooker bomb detonated in the Chelsea neighborhood last summer. The maximum punishment is life in prison.
This had the second highest approval rating of any Maine referendum question, only to be declared as unconstitutional. Today, lawmakers are taking another crack at ranked choice voting, holding a hearing about a new bill that would only apply to primary elections, but not general elections. Supporters say it's the will of the people, but opponents say the timeline is unrealistic and it would slow down results.
All right, talking about puppy mills can get a lot of people riled up. Today, a lot of you said we should be following in the footsteps of California.
Last week, a California bill was signed into law requiring pet stores to work with animal shelters or rescue operations. Puppy mills sales are banned statewide, but private breeders can still sell animals directly to families. Almost 40 California cities already had a similar law in place, but the pet store industry says this new law removes important consumer protections.
All right, we asked you in Maine, should we consider a similar law? You had a lot to say. Caitlin says absolutely, adopt and save a life. Michelle says this is probably the only time she agrees with California. Leanne sees some pitfalls. The definition of puppy mill can be confused with a hobby breeder.
Jolene says we need to focus on the laws we already have, such as stopping backyard breeders selling without a license or ID numbers.
Yeah, we asked some of you to weigh in during the break too. Heidi said, ban puppy mills, definitely. And Christy said, yes, puppy mills should be banned. Awesome what California did, says Shelby.
Yeah, Tammy says get pets from the shelters for sure. Elise says it definitely makes more sense to adopt animals, and pretty much everybody who's commenting on our Facebook page, and we thank you for those comments, is with the theme of ban puppy mills, it's wrong, and adopt from shelters for sure. So thank you for weighing in for those comments, because we wanted to hear from you, and we did.
All right, the Food and Drug Administration says you need to watch out for phony or even dangerous pet medications sold online. They sent out a warning this week saying some online sites are selling unapproved pet drugs or even counterfeit products. It can be cheaper to buy online, but the FDA says you need to make sure the website is legitimate. If they are willing to sell a drug without proof of prescription, that is a huge red flag.
So those animals going for a walk, will we be able to go for a walk? We're going to find out in a minute because
Keith is going to tell us about plunging temperatures when we come back.
When a baby is born, taking them home can certainly be the scariest, trust me, and the happiest, trust me, moments in a parent's life.
But when a baby has to stay in the hospital because they're premature, too sick, or they need an operation, it's scary and uncertain time for families.
Yeah, some hospitals have a way that mom and dad can keep an eye on their little one, even when they can't be there in person. Katie Eastman has that story.
When you're this little, every stretch, every open eye, every breath is a big deal.
He's our little superhero.
Amanda Borcherdine
Stretches.
doesn't want to miss a moment.
Fear of missing out on anything, any little reflex or smile or anything like that.
All of Crosby's moments happen in this room.
Kind of trying to wake up.
He was born on August 11th,
You hiding?
12 weeks before the due date.
He could fit in my husband's hand.
Crosby will be in the neonatal intensive care unit for about 3 months.
Hi, Crosby.
So going home
What you doing?
is hard for Amanda.
You want to take him on with you, and you can't.
And this
You can sign it.
makes it easier.
And you can kind of see him move.
A live stream of Crosby from the NICView cameras.
And it's just super comforting to see him anytime we want.
The hospital installed them a couple weeks into Crosby's stay. The nurses and doctors also have access to the video when they're not in the room.
Sometimes when we're doing things, we'll turn the camera off just because I think it can be a little scary sometimes. The babies are so small and these big hands come in the picture.
Hi, buddy.
Amanda can only hold Crosby once a day. These moments are her favorite.
Oh, I know.
But even when she's not there,
There you go.
she can still see almost every moment.
Katie Eastman with that story. Currently, there aren't any main hospitals offering the NICView camera, but it's an up-and-coming technology spreading across the country.
I watch Lee's babies all the time on his camera.
On his
Watch
live
them
feed?
change
Yeah.
Live
diapers.
Facebook from the
I
house?
mean, there
That's
basically is a live feed.
straight up
coming
dude
out.
You
entertainment.
wouldn't last 5 minutes in my house.
Remember you wanted to
You
do a
wouldn't
house
last 4
switch?
minutes in my house.
You wanted to do a life switch for a week, and I was like, I'm not taking that
First
deal.
of all, my wife would kill you.
Yep.
Then my children would kill you.
Yep.
Then my animals would kill. It would be. I mean,
It's true.
You'd
done.
be into the animals, though.
I would.
Nothing else.
That's about it.
Nothing else.
Anyhow,
Let's try
cool
that.
tonight.
We should try that. Let's do
Little
house
chilly. You're
swap.
sleeveless tonight, Hill, and it's gonna be cold later. I just want you to.
Purple's like a cold color,
It's
though.
a very nice dress. I just want you to be prepared later tonight
Okay.
when you go outside. 52 at the moment, but it'll drop quickly into the 30s, even along the coastline. Here are the overnight lows: 35 in Portland, 34 in Rockland, into the 20s squarely, easily into the mountains. They didn't issue a frost advisory over the southwest coast, which I thought was interesting, because I don't think we've gotten a hard freeze yet, and we'll get one tonight in a lot of these spots, so watch that. All right, front moves out. Tomorrow's a bright day, but cool again in the 50s for highs on a north flow. This high, though, starts to rotate into position on Wednesday. We get into a neutral pattern into the 60s, and then it gets to our east. Now we're on the west side of this high, and it's warm on Thursday. Back to the upper 60s, right around 70 degrees. This front will come through Thursday night with maybe a sprinkle. That will be the entirety of the rain from now until Sunday. Hour by hour forecast looking good tomorrow, nice and bright, but again, cool. Temperatures in the 50s, most of the day spent around 50 degrees. Here comes that front, a couple of showers, a possibility over northern Maine, and then Wednesday is a more seasonal day. Temperatures in the mid and upper 60s. Thursday again will have us around 70 degrees. Very persistent ridge that we've had basically since September, and one way or another we can't fully get out of this pattern in which this ridge comes back for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably into Monday, giving us about 4 more days of well above average temperatures, to add to the fact that we're absolutely torching right now, our warmest October on record in both Portland and Bangor. Look at these temperatures. We're beating the second place, so to speak, by 3 degrees and almost 3 degrees in Bangor. As far as monthly anomalies, these are huge numbers. So it looks very likely that we'll finish in the top 3, if not in the top spot. In addition to that, guys, basically no rain. This is all the way through next Monday. Here are your rainfall forecasts. A lot of zeros on there. Don't forget that 0.01 though. That'll make a big difference out there in Caribou. So it's going to be nice. It's going to be dry. This upcoming weekend, very similar to last weekend, I think, where it is in the mid-60s to low 70s, which is becoming more and more anomalous, right? As we get, don't say it, Lee, as we get closer and closer to late October. There is some indication that next week, say Tuesday, Wednesday, will start to break down and cool down. But we are just blazing right now, so warm.
Well, I mean, I'm not complaining for now because I know what's coming.
The way it should be.
All right, thanks, Lee. All right, it's the last week of the high school football season, and we are bringing Hometown Showdown back to Class A.
Yeah, you guys want to be a part of this, so go to pulse.newscentermaine.com or click on the Pulse tab in your app to vote for one of these games. Lewiston hosting the undefeated Edward Little Red Eddies, 6-1 Scarborough visiting Still Perfect Bonnie Eagle, or a battle of 3 and 4 teams where Cheverus takes on Oxford Hills. Voting ends tonight at midnight, and we'll announce the winner of our final regular season Hometown Showdown tomorrow.
All right, Cindy Williams has a look at what's coming up at 5:30.
Hi guys, we got a lot more local news coming up, including another person has tossed their hat in the ring for the governor's race. Independent Terry Hayes tells NewsCenter why she is the best person for the job. And can you do something really easy to help a little boy? It's so simple. We'll show you. All you have to do is write a Halloween card. We'll explain. All coming up in the next half hour. Back to you.
All right, Cindy, that's at 5:30. Now we'll continue after the break.
All right, today's Brain Drops is not about what you're seeing in the video here. It's about self-driving cars. One of the things, I know you guys don't love this idea, one of the concerns they have is these cars are going to be designed to save as many human lives as possible. And in some cases, that means sacrificing the driver of that particular car. Example, you're going 65 miles an hour, 3 pedestrians run out into the street. The car calculates you don't have enough time to stop. It knows there are 3 people, you're the only person in your car. It may have to, in that case, drive you off the road. So they went and they started to think, is there a way we could solve this? And they came up with the idea, we could have a dial that says protect my passengers or protect everybody, like the general population. Here's the problem with that, human nature. So they went and did a study and said, how often would you put it on protect outside of my car? And it was very infrequent. But it's an interesting dilemma. They would save lives, no doubt. Self-driving cars would, but there would be times, if you're about to T-bone a school bus, that it would sacrifice your car to save more lives.
Just so we're clear, when you say it would save lives, no doubt.
Yes.
What you mean is some doubt.
No,
because I have doubt.
It might not save your life in that car, but it would save lives.
We're going to have to get back to this one.
All right, News Center at 5:30.
Bad idea.
Starts right now.